esteri.it. Esteri come affari esteri.
Thank you so much.
Sì, me l'hanno detto,
Coming shortly, so let's have a seat. Thank you so much. Any second, thank you so much.
Tedesco non ho entrato, no? Acceso, perché anche una cosa a parte del paradigm shift adesso dove non è che It will be more concrete.
Inshallah.
Real
Inshallah.
plan, funding, signing ceremony, less speeches, more
Okay.
honest.
Okay. Leave that and Brussels will be more prospective than.
Yeah, it's a donor conference. That one, yes.
Therefore, it's more prospective than.
Yeah, more concrete on that side. The challenge would be the government, how they can consult with the regions and civil society.
Please turn up all. For EU and UN and World Bank and AMISOM counterparts, thank you so much. First, I would like to welcome Man I Will for the opening remark of this session.
Welcome you to the launching event for the New Deal process for Somalia. In accordance with the Accra Agenda for Action on Aid Effectiveness and subsequent fourth high-level forum on aid effectiveness in Busan at the end of 2011, the federal government of the Republic of Somalia has endorsed and begun the implementation of the New Deal process for Somalia. We started an inclusive process by establishing a high-level task force comprising the federal government, House of the People, civil society, and international partners and stakeholders. We are committed to collaborative and effective engagement with the international community and aid and country-level stakeholders. This will ensure sufficient representation of all individuals and stakeholders that can influence the New Deal implementation in Somalia. The New Deal process for Somalia is already socialized with the Council of Ministers, the Parliament, and local stakeholders, including the civil society, the media, the private sector, and international partners. I come to understand the New Deal implementation process is not easy task, especially in Somalia. With that in mind, the government will undertake the first phase of the New Deal principle, which is a comprehensive fragility assessment. I mean identification of key fragility and resilience indicators to measure progress against the peace building and state building priorities. Each country is different, and many areas of reform described in the New Deal are already underway in Somalia. We initiated National Security and Stabilization Plan and reforms on justice, security, and public financial management, which are key components of the New Deal principles. My government is looking forward to a joint government-donor compact that delivers the New Deal vision on a specific Somali-led and Somali-owned agendas. The compact will enhance fiscal responsibility, support stabilization, inclusive peace building, and will speed up recovery and long-term development phases. Somalia is transitioning out of conflict towards sustainable peace and development. This requires greater national ownership and key priorities and increasing the institutional capacity of the Somali federal government to provide safety and welfare to its citizens. Therefore, the government needs the support of the international partners in providing appropriate long-term, flexible, and effective assistance. We realize the international community faces multiple challenges, including the way aid is structured and the fragmentation of financing mechanisms at country level. As a result, countries in the transition period of conflict and fragility often receive aid architecture that is fragmented and incoherent, which compromises the long-term aid effectiveness. In this transition period of conflict and fragility, providing adequate financing to Somalia is both life-saving activity and livelihood support. This will provide a window of opportunity to build confidence in the political process and strengthen core national priorities, thereby beginning to lay the foundations of sustainable development. Somalia needs continued commitment from international partners and significant political support for an extended period of time. In this regard, we are advocating for a compact that focuses on a small number of issues that can be achieved within the time frame of the agreement. The compact should focus on a small agreed set of priorities and the methods for delivering and modalities. This is in line with the new principle of one vision, one plan. Also, the compact should include bold and innovative ideas that establish flexible, rapid, and predictable funding modalities. Increasing the capacity of various government institutions is a very critical priority for the government. We took significant steps along international partners and stakeholders to map in-country instruments to understand our capacity gaps. In this respect, we would like to see greater utilization of funding instruments at the country level to avoid proliferation of other funding mechanisms with overlapping and sometimes competing mandates. The success of any transition financing depends on level of government capacity and involvement. It is to strengthen governance, not to undermine it. We are committed to the implementation of the New Deal process for Somalia and requesting the highest level of cooperation from the international community and country-level stakeholders in order to establish a simple, realistic, and achievable compact. Thank you.
And then the focus is for G7 plus, the New Deal, as mentioned by the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance, is something that we accept as G7 plus, that it is the only way out. The government and our actors, the partners, have to change the way we have been doing business. Interconnected components, the peace building and the state building. Goals is one, the focus is another principle, the 5 goals, the focus and the trust. Now the 5 goals are there, the progress. And that's why we are developing the indicators for monitoring, being partners, being civil society. Civil society is very key. We, as partners, are telling us that, like, give you an example of South Sudan. We are people who have just got independence almost 2 years ago, and our systems are still very weak. But the New Deal is saying that we have to reduce the risks. They not doing anything in fragile states in terms of aid delivery is more risky than being involved. So the New Deal is saying that risks have to be shared by the government and partners. It's very key in talking of the New Deal compact, which will be key in your dealing later on with and then economic foundation and revenue and service delivery. At the bottom, you are saying that the focus is the what and the how is the, but we have to come together and share, so that I tell you what we are was formulated and it became the international standard for measuring human development. What does the New Deal mean for Somalia? As mentioned by the Prime Minister and the
in la bilaabo waxa loo yaqaan New Deal. New Deal-ku waxa weeye waa dariiqo cusub oo loo maamulayo deeqaha ay bixiyaan soo mara waxaa aasaasay wadamo loo yaqaano wadamada toddobada ah oo ama G7 plus oo kulligood oo dhan ahaa wadamo soo maray dhibta inagu aynu soo maray oo kale waxay soo jeediyeen dariiqo cusub oo ay uga faa'iideysan karaan waxa dunidu siiso sida ay uga faa'iideysan karaan ugu fiicanna waxay u garteen inay tahay inay iyagu maamulaan iyaga baahidooda yaqaan baahidooda say u kala horeyso marka waxay ku dhisan tahay in ay baahidooda iyagu maamulaan ayna dunidu waxay siiso iyagu u maamulin iyagu maamulaan arrintaas ay ahayd wixii maanta lagu bilaabay maanta lagu loojigareeyay halkan waxay leedahay muddo waxay soo martay laga soo shaqaynayay hadda sanad iyo bar meelahaasa maanta si rasmi ah unbaa halkan loogu aqoonsaday in la bilaabay waad aragteen oo dad badan oo international community ka socda ay kala soo qayb galay dadkaasi waa in la wadayaan ilaa iyo meesha ugu dambaysa insha Allah arrintaas ay ku saabsanayd waxaan u gudbinayaa odayaasha kale oo dhinacyada fadhiya waa mahadsantihiin
The launch by the New Deal task force of the New Deal process. It included a vast array of actors, representatives from the government, notably the Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance, and the ministers of cabinet, of the international community, civil society, represented on my left by Ms. Halima, regional authorities. The New Deal process is a process driven and led by Somalia and Somali actors. The international community is strongly behind it. Today was only the beginning of a long process that will lead also to a conference in September in Brussels, where the compact, which is the Somali vision, the Somali plan, the New Deal plan, will be presented to the international community for support. Brussels will not be an end in itself. It will be an ongoing process. We have listened today also from the lessons learned of a number of other countries, fragile countries, which have embarked in the New Deal, notably Timor-Leste and Sudan. There are a number of lessons learned there. For Somalia, we have directly observed the strong commitment of the government, of the task force, to deliver the compact in the coming months. And if the momentum of today's kickoff event continues in the coming weeks and months, I'm pretty sure that this will happen. So overall, a very successful day for Somalia and its people.
This important kick-off event for the New Deal process. The UN is very happy to be supporting this Somali-led process, which focuses on focus, trust, and also 5 peace and state-building goals. And the Somali community, which was represented very widely at this event today, will all be working together through an extensive consultation process on arriving at consensus on the peace and state-building goals. And the idea, as the ambassador of the EU just mentioned, is that once the Somali side has done its work through an inclusive process, that there will be an international compact of support by the international community to the implementation of that process. So I think this is a very, very important day, a very successful event, one which will lead to hopefully a move out of the fragile situation in which Somalia finds itself today on towards peace and development. And I think that the wide turnout at the event today, and also the greetings from around the world, we have colleagues from other so-called G7 plus countries, which are countries which are also in a fragile situation. Their contributions have been invaluable, and I think it's this partnership where the Somali colleagues work together with the G7 plus, which will ensure the success of the process and a better future for Somalia. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.